We're taking a look at 2027 wide receiver Myles McAfee right now. Sometimes when I get bored, I like watching the rising junior year prospects. So the 2027 kids that we only have their sophomore films. And you'll watch the top prospects and you'll see one or two traits that gets you really excited to get into the junior year film when it happens. But there's just some kind of jump, some kind of step that a lot of these kids need to make before you start actually talking about them as college football players. Not the case with Myles McAfee. You know, we're going to watch the sophomore film, and you see a lot of things that get you excited about this kid as a college football wide receiver. Not an athlete, not necessarily a college football athlete, but a college football receiver. So we're going to take a look at his sophomore year right here from Archbishop, Spalding in Maryland, 6'1", 170. Really love seeing Psalms 37:5. Love seeing the Bible verses before we get into the actual film here. So why do I like Myles McAfee? I think this kid's got a real understanding of how to separate already as a sophomore in high school. That doesn't mean he's going to be a perfect wide receiver already. You know, of course, he's a sophomore in high school. But what really stuck out to me, right? I just watched a bunch of 5 stars, a bunch of 4 stars in 2027. And, you know, they have those verified track numbers, the 10.3, 800 meter, you know, blazing fast. They're going to be great wide receivers, I'm sure. But not the case with Myles McAfee. You know, I couldn't find a track number. He moves fast enough, you know, but I don't think this is a dude we're going to be talking about in the 4.2s, 4.3s when he's going into the NFL. So why do I like Myles McAfee? First, he has such an inclination to catch these balls away from the body. This first one's going to be a double clutch, which is fine, you know. It's not so much that I need to see all these balls. We don't need to see all these balls brought in as a sophomore in high school. We need to see the willingness to, you know, stick your hands out and bring it in. And a lot of times, man, this is something that even NFL wide receivers struggle with. Quentin Johnson, dude is a physical freak, just hasn't really understood that even when he's wide open, he has to bring these balls in with his hands. You know, he's just kind of a body catcher still. Myles McAfee already as a sophomore in high school has that understanding to bring the ball in when it's away from his body. You know, that's very encouraging. I also really like the release with this kid. Sometimes we'll see some extra steps, but I really like this right here. Oh my gosh, dude. It looks like a sniper was in the bleachers and hit this cornerback the way he kind of like puts his hand up like that. So he just moves at a different speed. It's not necessarily the fastest. Like I said, he's not a 4.3 guy, but the change of direction ability, just an understanding of how to get open. You know, this is a really nice route here. Here's another one. Really strong hands away from the body. Just plucks it. Just a natural ball catcher. A natural hands catcher. I love seeing that. So the releases, a lot of times, it isn't that he's so explosive that it's too much for, you know, opposing cornerbacks to handle. It's just more that everything's so clean and he's so sudden. You know, you don't know which way he's going. And that, I think, makes him play a bit faster than he's been naturally gifted. So that's kind of what I see with him. Already such a natural route runner, and you see the stuff with the hands away from the body. I think this kid's going to be pretty good as he continues to put it together. Very encouraging stuff, though, for a sophomore in high school. You know, just here's another one. He just throttles down here. Looks like, you know, this kid was so convinced that he was running a goal line fade because McAfee did a great job kind of faking that he was going to be running that fade. And he just kind of throttles down just a little bit, man. This is a very subtle move. We don't have to see these moves just, you know, be over exaggerated like you see with a lot of these high school kids. Look how subtle this throttle down was. And looking at the corner, it doesn't look subtle. You know, the corner's just having a lot of trouble playing with McAfee. I think it was the same kid as before, but man, this kid just has an understanding of separation, I think. Something that's pretty rare to see out of sophomores in high school. Another one, really nice catch away from the body, you know. I don't know. When I watched it the first time and as I keep watching it, it's just something about him. Just knows how to separate, I think. You know, we're going to watch other kids, like I said, in this 27 class be a lot faster. You know, they're going to have those verified 10.3 8 times, those 10.2 times, and you're going to get very excited about the upside with those kids. But a kid like this, I think, has such a high floor because already he's a sophomore in high school, has a very nuanced understanding of the wide receiver position. Those are the kids I want on my roster, right? You see how subtle this is? We see a lot of times, I don't know what this is, but before, just cover 3. It's just so easy for him to just make one step and he's wide open. And love the ball skills. You know, we see that throughout the video. So that was Myles McAfee. You guys let me know what you think about him. Any other 27 players you want me to take a look at. I'm gonna try to limit the sophomore film I watch on this channel to the kids that I think are kind of ahead football wise. It's not so fun to just watch these kids with the athletic upside as sophomores in high school, just because, like I said, there's so much that has to happen for them to be college football players, technique wise. But Myles McAfee, kind of an easy one for me to watch. You guys let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.